Tonight, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating experiences the human mind can have while asleep lucid dreaming. It's the rare moment when a person realizes they are dreaming while the dream is still happening. The world around them may still look vivid and real, yet somewhere in the mind a quiet realization appears. This is a dream. From that moment, the dream becomes a place where awareness and imagination exist together. The idea of recognizing a dream from inside the dream is not new. More than 2,000 years ago, the Greek philosopher Aristotle wrote about moments when a sleeping person could notice that what they were seeing was a dream. Centuries later, the Dutch psychiatrist Frederik van Eeden formally introduced the term lucid dreaming in 1913 after carefully studying his own dream experiences. At the time, many people thought such dreams were simply imagination or exaggeration. But modern sleep science eventually proved that lucid dreaming is real. Researchers discovered that during REM sleep, the stage of sleep when vivid dreams usually occur, the eyes can still move, even though most of the body's muscles are relaxed. Scientists asked lucid dreamers to move their eyes in a special pattern once they realized they were dreaming. Those signals appeared clearly on sleep recordings, proving that the dreamers were aware inside their dreams while still asleep. It was the first objective evidence that lucid dreaming truly exists. Today, we know lucid dreaming happens to many people at least once in their lifetime. Some experience it by accident, perhaps noticing something strange in a dream, like text changing when they read it twice or gravity behaving oddly. Others learn to increase the chances through practice. The dream itself still forms naturally during sleep, but awareness can sometimes slip into the experience. One of the simplest ways people begin exploring lucid dreaming is by improving dream recall. Keeping a dream journal beside the bed and writing down dreams each morning trains the brain to pay attention to dreams. Over time, people begin noticing repeating dream patterns, certain places, events, or impossible situations that appear again and again. These repeating details are often called dream signs, and recognizing them can trigger awareness inside a dream. Another common approach is called mnemonic induction of lucid dreams, often shortened to MILD. Before falling asleep, a person quietly reminds themselves that the next time they are dreaming, they will recognize it. This simple intention works by using prospective memory, the same type of memory we use to remember to do something later. When the dream begins, that intention can sometimes surface in the mind and spark lucidity. Some people also use a method known as wake back to bed. In this technique, the sleeper wakes up after several hours of sleep, stays awake briefly, and then returns to bed. Because REM sleep becomes longer later in the night, returning to sleep during that time increases the chances of entering a vivid dream where lucidity may occur. What makes lucid dreaming so captivating is that it sits right at the border between two worlds. The dream environment is created entirely by the brain, yet the dreamer can sometimes observe it with the same kind of awareness used in waking life. For a few moments, the sleeping mind becomes both the storyteller and the observer of its own story. And perhaps the most remarkable thing is that this ability does not require special equipment or unusual talent. It grows naturally from the same dreaming mind that everyone experiences every night, a quiet reminder that even in sleep, the human mind can occasionally wake up just enough to recognize the dream. A lucid dream is a dream in which the dreamer realizes, while still asleep, that what is happening is not waking life, but a dream. That is what makes lucid dreaming so remarkable. The mind is still inside the dream, still surrounded by dream images and dream events. Yet at the same time, it gains a small spark of awareness. In that moment, the sleeping brain seems to notice its own inner world from the inside. Long before modern sleep laboratories existed, Aristotle had already described the possibility that a person might recognize a dream while it was happening. This means the basic idea of lucid dreaming is not new at all. Human beings have been noticing this strange mental event for a very long time. Modern science gave it tools and measurements, but the experience itself was observed many centuries ago. Lucid dreaming is now accepted as a real sleep phenomenon because laboratory studies have objectively verified it. This matters because dreams are private experiences, and for a long time they were difficult to test directly. But researchers found ways to confirm when a sleeping person became aware inside a dream. That moved lucid dreaming from an old idea and personal report into something that can be studied scientifically. Meta-analytic research has found that about 55% of people report having had at least one lucid dream in their lifetime. So even though lucid dreaming can sound unusual or rare, it is actually a fairly widespread human experience. More than half of people may encounter it at least once. That suggests lucid dreaming is not a strange exception of the mind, but part of the range of normal human sleep experience. The same large body of research found that about 23% of people report lucid dreams at least once a month. That is a much smaller group than the people who have one only once or twice in life. It tells us that regular lucid dreaming does happen, but it is far less common than occasional lucid dreaming. For many people, lucidity arrives only now and then, almost like a rare window opening briefly during sleep. Lucid dreaming is not defined by total control over the dream. A person can be lucid even if they cannot change the setting, summon objects, or direct the story. The essential feature is awareness, not mastery. In other words, a lucid dream begins the moment the dreamer knows, with some clarity, that this is a dream. Recent research summaries suggest that deliberate control appears in only about 1/3 of lucid dreams. That means awareness and control do not always come together. A person may know they are dreaming, yet still feel carried along by the dream's own momentum. This is important because popular culture often treats lucid dreaming as if it always means complete command, while research shows the experience is usually more limited and varied than that. Lucid dreams typically arise during rapid eye movement sleep, often called REM sleep, the stage most strongly linked with vivid dreaming. REM is the part of the night when dreams tend to feel especially rich, emotional, and visually intense. Because lucid dreams usually happen there, they are connected to one of the most active and mysterious phases of sleep. The awareness appears not in ordinary quiet sleep, but inside one of the brain's most vivid nighttime states. REM sleep is sometimes called paradoxical sleep because the brain appears highly active while the body stays largely immobilized. That is why it feels so unusual from the scientific point of view. On the inside, the mind may be generating scenes, stories, emotions, and movement. On the outside, the sleeper lies still, with the body protected from acting most of it out. Lucid dreaming is often described as a hybrid or dissociated state because it blends ordinary dreaming with a kind of reflective awareness that feels closer to waking thought. It is almost as if two modes of consciousness overlap for a while. The dream remains dreamlike, emotional, and immersive, but some part of the mind becomes more observant and self-aware. That mix is one reason lucid dreaming fascinates both scientists and dreamers. In ordinary dreams, people usually do not stop to question whether events are real. Even impossible things can feel completely natural while the dream is happening. A person may accept strange places, unusual people, or impossible events without hesitation. That quiet acceptance is one of the basic qualities of normal dreaming. In a lucid dream, that missing insight briefly returns. The dreamer recognizes that the experience is not waking reality, but a dream created within sleep. This return of insight can be sudden and vivid, almost like a light turning on in the middle of the dream. The environment may not change immediately, but the dreamer's relationship to it does. Lucid dreams can feel extremely realistic, even when the dreamer knows the environment is internally generated. The sights, sounds, motion, and sense of presence can all feel convincing. That realism is part of what makes lucid dreaming so memorable. The dream is not merely thought about from a distance, it is often felt from within, as if the person is fully there. Scientists consider reliable induction one of the central challenges in lucid dreaming research. People can sometimes become lucid naturally, and some methods can improve the odds, but there is still no simple switch that works whenever desired. This makes lucid dreaming scientifically exciting but also difficult to study. Researchers are not just asking what lucid dreams are, but also how and when the sleeping brain can be guided into that state. Researchers verify lucid dreams in the laboratory by asking dreamers to make prearranged eye movements after becoming lucid. This is a clever solution to a difficult problem. Because most of the body is quiet during REM sleep, but the eyes can still move, the dreamer can send a signal from within the dream. In this way, the sleeper communicates from the dream world to the waking researchers. Those eye signals helped establish lucid dreaming as something measurable, not just a personal story told after waking. Instead of relying only on memory, scientists could link the signal to recorded sleep data and confirm that the person was still asleep during the experience. This was a major step for dream science. It showed that self-awareness can truly emerge in the sleeping brain. Researchers have even demonstrated limited real-time dialogue between people in lucid REM sleep and experimenters outside the dream. This sounds almost unbelievable, yet carefully designed studies have shown that sleepers can sometimes perceive questions and respond with agreed signals. The communication is simple and limited, but it is enough to show that the dreaming mind can occasionally interact with the outside world while remaining asleep. That kind of two-way communication suggests that sleeping minds can sometimes process information coming from outside the dream. This does not mean the sleeping person becomes fully awake. Instead, it shows that under special conditions, some external input can be noticed and answered from within REM sleep. It opens a remarkable scientific possibility, studying dream experience while it is happening, rather than only afterward. Lucid dream research has also been used to compare dreamed actions with imagined actions and physically performed actions. Researchers can ask lucid dreamers to carry out a task in the dream and signal the timing of it. Then they compare that with doing the same task while awake. This allows dream science to connect subjective experience with measurable time and movement. Some researchers compare lucid dreaming to immersive virtual reality because the brain can generate a vivid world without outside sensory input. The environment feels surrounding and embodied rather than distant or abstract. A person may feel themselves moving through space, touching objects, or interacting with dream characters. This is one reason lucid dreaming seems so powerful. The brain builds a convincing world from within itself. Lucid dreaming is linked in research to metacognition, which is the mind's ability to reflect on its own state. In waking life, metacognition helps people notice what they are thinking, feeling, or doing. In lucid dreams, that same reflective ability appears during sleep. The dreamer does not simply experience the dream, they also know something about the fact that they are experiencing it. One interpretation from brain research is that lucid dreams temporarily restore reflective consciousness without fully waking the sleeper. The person remains in sleep, remains inside dream imagery, and yet gains some of the self-monitoring abilities normally stronger during wakefulness. This makes lucid dreaming unusual among mental states. It is neither ordinary dreaming nor ordinary waking, but something in between. The phrase lucid dreaming was coined by Frederik van Eeden in 1913. Giving the experience a clear name helped people describe and discuss it more precisely. Before that, the experience existed, of course, but a shared term makes scientific conversation easier. It also marks an early moment when lucid dreaming began to enter more formal psychological language. Regular lucid dreaming is much less common than having a single lucid dream at some point in life. This difference matters because it reminds us that a one-time experience and a repeatable skill are not the same thing. Many people may glimpse lucidity once, perhaps unexpectedly, while far fewer experience it often. So lucid dreaming is common enough to be humanly familiar, but stable enough to remain special. Some research summarized in recent reviews suggests that lucid dreaming is reported more often in children than in older age groups. This is an interesting pattern, though researchers are still exploring why it may happen. It could relate to changes in sleep, attention, imagination, or development across life. Whatever the reason, it suggests that lucidity may be woven differently into the sleeping mind at different ages. REM sleep alternates with non-REM sleep in repeating cycles through the night. Sleep is not one single flat state. Instead, it moves in rhythms, with different stages taking turns in a repeating pattern. Lucid dreaming belongs mainly to one of those stages, which means understanding lucid dreams begins with understanding the architecture of normal sleep itself. A typical sleep cycle restarts about every 80 to 100 minutes. Over the course of a night, this cycling creates a kind of hidden structure beneath sleep. The mind and body travel through different conditions again and again. Lucid dreams arise within that structure, not randomly, which is why timing matters so much in both sleep research and induction methods. Most people pass through about 4 to 6 sleep cycles in a typical night. That means the sleeping brain has several opportunities to enter REM sleep before morning. With each cycle, the balance of stages shifts a little. This repeated pattern helps explain why dreaming changes across the night, and why some dream experiences are more likely at certain times than others. REM sleep tends to become longer later in the night, which is one reason vivid dreams are often remembered close to morning. As dawn approaches, REM can occupy more time within the sleep cycle. This gives dream activity a larger stage and more room to develop. It also helps explain why many lucid dream techniques focus on the later part of the night rather than the beginning. During REM sleep, the brain is highly active, and its activity resembles waking activity more than deep non-REM sleep. From the outside, the person appears peacefully asleep, yet inside, the brain is busy generating complex experience. This makes REM a uniquely rich setting for dreaming. Lucid dreaming emerges from that active background rather than from the quieter depths of sleep. During REM sleep, the body's large skeletal muscles usually become limp, which helps prevent people from acting out most dreams. This temporary loss of muscle activity is protective. The dream may contain movement, running, climbing, speaking, or turning, but the body remains mostly still. It is one of the most striking examples of how the sleeping brain and sleeping body can be in very different conditions at the same time. REM sleep is physiologically unusual because it combines vivid mental activity with temporary muscle paralysis. The mind may be creating dramatic experiences, while the body remains quiet and guarded. This unusual combination is one reason REM has long fascinated sleep scientists. Lucid dreaming adds another layer of wonder by placing self-awareness inside this already unusual state. REM dreams are often more fantastical and bizarre than non-REM dreams. They may contain impossible transitions, shifting places, unexpected people, and fluid logic that would seem strange in waking life. Yet inside the dream, all of it can feel natural. This dreamlike looseness may create the perfect conditions for lucidity, because unusual details can sometimes alert the dreamer that something is off. By contrast, non-REM dreams are often more thought-like and more closely tied to ordinary memories or familiar places. They may feel quieter, simpler, or less dramatic. This difference helps show that not all dreams are alike. Lucid dreaming is mostly tied to the richer and more vivid REM side of the night, where dream worlds tend to feel more immersive. Lucidity can emerge spontaneously, without any deliberate attempt to induce it. A person may simply notice something impossible in the dream and suddenly understand what is happening. This means lucid dreaming is not only a trained skill, it can also arise naturally, as if the sleeping mind briefly becomes curious about its own experience. Lucidity can also be deliberately targeted through behavioral, cognitive, pharmacological, or technological methods. In other words, people have tried many paths toward increasing the chance of becoming aware during dreams. Some methods use intention and memory, some use timed awakenings, some use external cues, and some use medications in research settings. The variety of methods shows both the promise of lucid dreaming and the difficulty of reaching it reliably. One classic induction method is called MILD, short for Mnemonic Induction of Lucid Dreams. This method is based on intention and memory, rather than force or stimulation. It asks the dreamer to hold a clear mental plan before sleep or after a nighttime awakening. In simple terms, it is the practice of trying to remember, in the future dream, that one is dreaming. MILD works by setting a strong intention to remember that you are dreaming the next time a dream begins. This is related to prospective memory, which is the ability to remember to do something later. The dreamer plants a small mental reminder ahead of time. If it carries into the dream, that reminder can become the spark of lucidity. Another widely used method is called WBTB, or Wake Back to Bed. This approach involves waking up during the later part of the night and then returning to sleep. The timing matters because the later night contains more REM-rich sleep. By interrupting sleep briefly and then going back into that later REM period, people may increase the chance of entering a lucid dream. WBTB involves waking during the later part of the night and then returning to sleep when REM-rich sleep is more likely. This does not create lucid dreaming by itself every time, but it changes the timing in a useful way. The sleeper re-enters sleep closer to the stage, where vivid dreams are common. That is why later night timing is such a central idea in lucid dream practice. Research suggests that combining WBTB with MILD is more effective than relying on simple intention alone. This makes sense because one method helps with timing and the other helps with memory and awareness. Together, they support the conditions in which lucidity may emerge. In dream research, this combination is one of the most discussed and tested approaches. In one sleep laboratory study, a 1-hour WBTB period paired with dream work and MILD was the most effective version tested. That does not mean it works for everyone, but it does show that structure and timing can matter a great deal. Lucid dreaming is not only about the dream itself. It is also about what the sleeper does before returning to sleep. Earlier work has suggested that WBTB periods ranging from about 30 to 120 minutes can be useful with MILD. This tells us there is some flexibility in the timing, though not complete certainty. Different people may respond differently, and no single formula works perfectly for all sleepers. Still, the research points toward a shared idea. Later night awakenings can create a helpful doorway back into dreaming. The International Lucid Dream Induction Study found that dream recall ability predicts whether MILD is more likely to work. This is important because it shows that remembering dreams well is not just a separate skill. It may directly support lucidity. If a person seldom remembers dreams, it becomes much harder to notice dream patterns or carry intention into them. In that same study, the strongest predictor of mild success was how quickly the person fell back asleep after practicing it. This is a subtle but important result. The intention seems to work best when it is still fresh as sleep returns. If wakefulness stretches too long, the bridge between intention and dreaming may weaken. When participants fell asleep within 5 minutes after completing mild, lucid dreaming occurred on 45.8% of those occasions. That is a striking number in lucid dream research, where reliable success is usually difficult to achieve. It does not mean nearly half of all attempts always work, but it does suggest that under the right conditions, timing and mental preparation can meaningfully improve the odds. Researchers think a rapid return to sleep may help the intention from mild carry forward into REM sleep. In other words, the plan to notice the dream may stay active just long enough to enter the dream with the sleeper. This idea connects memory, timing, and sleep stage into one process. It shows how lucid dreaming may depend not on one single trick, but on a careful meeting of several factors. The same international study reported that mild and SSILD performed similarly overall as lucid dream induction methods. This is useful because it shows there may be more than one workable path toward lucidity. Different people may respond better to different methods. Lucid dreaming does not appear to depend on a single universal technique. SSILD stands for Senses-Initiated Lucid Dreaming, and it uses repeated attention shifts across different sensory channels. The dreamer gently cycles attention through things like sight, sound, and bodily sensation while falling back asleep. The method is designed to sharpen awareness without creating too much effort. In that sense, it tries to prepare the mind to notice the dream from within. A hybrid technique tested in that study did not outperform mild or SSILD. This is a good reminder that more complexity does not always produce better results. In lucid dreaming research, simple and well-timed methods may sometimes work as well as, or better than, more elaborate combinations. The sleeping mind does not always respond to added layers with added success. Reality testing is another common induction strategy. The basic idea is to perform small checks during waking life so often that the habit may continue into dreams. If it does, the dreamer may notice that something behaves strangely and become lucid. It is a way of training curiosity and self-checking during the day in hopes that it will echo at night. The idea behind reality testing is to repeat simple checks while awake so that the habit may carry into dreams. A person might look twice at text, examine a clock, or question whether the environment follows normal physical rules. In waking life, these checks usually confirm ordinary reality. In a dream, they may fail in strange ways, and that failure can become the clue that opens awareness. Common reality checks include reading text twice, checking a clock twice, or testing whether normal physical rules seem unreliable. These checks are useful because dream details often shift when examined closely. Words may change, numbers may drift, and logic may behave strangely. The point is not magic, but observation. Lucidity often begins with noticing that the dream cannot hold together like waking reality. Dream journaling is often recommended because it improves dream recall and helps people notice recurring dream signs. Writing dreams down makes them more visible to waking memory. Over time, repeated themes, places, emotions, or odd patterns can become easier to spot. Those repeated patterns may later serve as clues inside dreams. That a dream recall makes lucid dream induction easier because it gives the dreamer more material to recognize. If dreams are forgotten every morning, there is little to study and little to learn from. But when dreams are remembered more clearly, the sleeper begins to see their own nighttime patterns. That familiarity can make dream awareness more possible. Lucid dreamers often report that unusual inconsistencies in a dream trigger the realization that they are asleep. A door may lead somewhere impossible. A building may change shape. A person may appear in the wrong place, or time may behave strangely. These quiet impossibilities can become the exact moment when the dreaming mind wakes up just enough to know what it is seeing. Scientists verify lucid dreams in sleep laboratories by asking dreamers to perform prearranged eye movements once they become aware inside the dream. Before the experiment begins, the participant and the researchers agree on a specific pattern, such as moving the eyes left and right several times. During REM sleep, the muscles that move the eyes remain active even though most of the body's muscles are relaxed. When the dreamer becomes lucid and performs the eye signal, the movement appears clearly on sleep monitoring equipment. This provides a reliable marker that the person was aware while still asleep. Those eye signals are possible because the eye muscles remain active during REM sleep even when most voluntary muscles are suppressed. During this stage of sleep, the body enters a state that prevents large muscle movements. This protects the sleeper from physically acting out dreams. However, the small muscles that control eye movements do not shut down in the same way. Because of this, the eyes continue to move under the eyelids, following what the dreamer is seeing inside the dream. This discovery helped establish lucid dreaming as something measurable rather than just a personal story told after waking. Before these experiments, researchers had no reliable way to know exactly when someone became lucid in a dream. With the eye signal technique, they could match the moment of lucidity to recorded brain activity and sleep stages. This turned lucid dreaming into a phenomenon that could be tested and analyzed scientifically. The eye signaling method also allows researchers to compare lucid REM sleep with ordinary REM sleep in the same person. By analyzing the brain activity before and after the signal, scientists can see what changes when awareness appears in the dream. This makes lucid dreaming extremely valuable for studying consciousness during sleep. It allows researchers to observe how awareness rises inside a dream without the sleeper waking up. Laboratory research on lucid dreaming is challenging because lucid dreams are rare and unstable under controlled conditions. Even experienced lucid dreamers cannot always become lucid on demand, especially in the unfamiliar environment of a sleep laboratory. Because of this, scientists often need many nights of monitoring to capture a single verified lucid dream. This difficulty slows research, but also highlights how special the state is. Lucid dreaming has opened a new way to study dreams from inside the dream, rather than relying only on waking memories. Normally, dream research depends on reports given after the person wakes up. Those memories can fade or become distorted. Lucid dreaming allows researchers to observe dream experiences in real time while the person is still asleep. In some experiments, researchers have demonstrated limited real-time communication between sleeping participants and scientists outside the dream. Once the dreamer becomes lucid, the experimenter may ask simple questions or give signals. The dreamer then answers using agreed-upon movements or facial muscle signals. This interaction happens while the brain is still clearly in REM sleep. In those studies, sleeping participants were able to perceive questions and respond to them with eye or facial signals during REM sleep. The responses were simple, such as answering yes or no. Yet this ability suggests that the dreaming mind can sometimes process external information. It also shows that a small channel of communication can remain open even during deep dreaming. This two-way communication suggests that sleeping minds can occasionally process outside information while dreaming. It does not mean that dreams are fully connected to the waking world. Instead, it shows that under carefully controlled conditions, some external signals can reach the dreamer's awareness. This finding has opened a fascinating new direction for dream research. Real-time dream communication may reduce memory distortions that happen when people describe dreams only after waking. Dreams often fade quickly, and details can change when recalled later. By allowing the dreamer to respond during the dream itself, researchers gain more immediate information about what the person is experiencing. This approach may improve the accuracy of dream research. Lucid dream research has also been used to compare actions performed in dreams with actions imagined or performed while awake. Researchers might ask a lucid dreamer to count steps while walking inside a dream. The dreamer signals the start and end of the action using eye movements. Scientists then compare the time taken in the dream with the time taken while awake. Studies suggest that performing a motor task in a lucid dream often takes longer than performing the same task while awake. For example, a dreamer may attempt to walk a certain distance or perform a sequence of movements. The timing measured from eye signals shows that the dream version can be slower. This suggests that dream movement does not perfectly match real-world physical timing. This time difference has been observed, especially for movement-based activities such as walking or gymnastic sequences. In dreams, the body is not actually moving, so the brain must simulate the action internally. That simulation may take slightly longer than the physical action itself. These results help scientists understand how the brain represents movement during sleep. Because dream actions can be timed with eye signals, lucid dreaming is useful for studying motor activity and perception during sleep. Researchers can ask dreamers to perform specific actions and record how long they take. This provides a rare opportunity to study internal experiences in a measurable way. Few other dream phenomena allow such precise testing. Lucid dreams have also been used to test whether dream movement shares physiological features with waking movement. Scientists examine signals such as eye activity, breathing patterns, and subtle muscle responses. Some of these signals change when the dreamer imagines performing a movement inside the dream. This suggests that the brain may activate similar systems in both dreaming and waking movement. Research has found similarities between practiced dream actions and waking actions in certain physiological responses. For instance, the body's autonomic system, which controls heart rate and breathing, may react during intense dream activity. These reactions can resemble those seen during real physical movement. The findings suggest that dream experiences can influence the body even while the person sleeps. Some researchers compare lucid dreaming to immersive virtual reality created entirely by the brain. In both cases, a person feels present in a three-dimensional environment that surrounds them. The difference is that in lucid dreams, the brain generates every element of the world internally. No external computer or headset is involved. Unlike ordinary mental imagery, lucid dreaming can include powerful sensations of movement, balance, and body position. These sensations are known as proprioceptive experiences. They make the dreamer feel physically present in the dream environment. This sense of embodiment is one reason lucid dreams can feel so vivid and convincing. This immersive quality is why lucid dreams interest sports scientists and researchers studying skill learning. If the brain can rehearse movements during dreams, it might strengthen certain mental patterns used during waking practice. Athletes already use mental visualization techniques while awake. Lucid dreaming could potentially extend that rehearsal into sleep. Some surveys suggest that certain athletes already report using lucid dreaming as part of their mental training. They may attempt to practice movements, strategies, or reactions while aware inside dreams. Although the scientific evidence is still developing, These reports show how people experiment with the possibilities of lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is linked in research to metacognition, which is the ability to reflect on one's own mental state. Metacognition allows a person to think about their own thoughts. In everyday life, this helps people evaluate decisions or notice mistakes. In lucid dreaming, this reflective ability appears while the person is still asleep. Brain imaging studies of frequent lucid dreamers suggest stronger connections involving the anterior prefrontal cortex. This part of the brain plays a role in decision-making, planning, and self-reflection during waking life. When researchers compare frequent lucid dreamers with other participants, they often find differences in how this region communicates with other areas. In one MRI study, frequent lucid dreamers showed increased resting state connectivity between the left anterior prefrontal cortex and temporoparietal regions. These brain areas are involved in processing complex sensory information and perspective taking. The increased communication between them may help explain why lucid dreamers can become aware inside their dreams. Interestingly, that same study did not find major structural differences in the brains of frequent lucid dreamers. The size and shape of the brain regions were not significantly different from those of other participants. This suggests that lucid dreaming may depend more on how brain networks communicate rather than on physical structural changes. Researchers interpret this pattern as evidence that lucid dreaming depends on functional organization within the brain's networks. In other words, it may be about how brain regions coordinate with each other rather than about the size of the regions themselves. This network-based explanation fits with the idea that lucid dreaming is a temporary shift in consciousness. The strongest connectivity increase in that study involved the left anterior prefrontal cortex and parts of the angular gyrus. These regions belong to higher-order association areas of the brain. They help integrate information from many senses and support complex thinking processes. These higher-order association regions are heavily involved in reflective thought and cognitive control during waking life. When these areas become more active during REM sleep, the brain may gain the ability to monitor its own experience. That increased monitoring could allow the dreamer to recognize that the dream is not real. Earlier EEG studies have reported unusual frontal brain activity around 40 Hz during lucid REM sleep. This pattern, sometimes called gamma activity, is associated with attention and awareness in waking states. Seeing similar activity during lucid dreaming suggests that parts of the waking consciousness system may reactivate. This finding contributed to the idea that lucid dreaming involves a partial reactivation of self-reflective brain functions, normally quieter during REM sleep. In ordinary dreaming, the brain areas responsible for critical thinking are less active. When those areas become more engaged, awareness of the dream may emerge. Functional MRI studies have also found increased activity in prefrontal, parietal, and occipitotemporal regions during lucid REM sleep. These areas help process visual information, spatial awareness, and decision-making. Their increased activity during lucid dreaming may support the dreamer's ability to analyze the dream environment. One interpretation is that lucid dreams temporarily restore reflective consciousness without fully waking the sleeper. The dream continues. The body remains asleep, yet a layer of awareness appears. This mixture of sleep and reflection creates a unique state of consciousness that scientists continue to explore. Some reviews describe lucid dreaming as a condition where hallucinatory dream imagery coexists with waking-like insight. The dream remains immersive and emotional, but the dreamer knows it is a dream. This combination makes lucid dreaming a powerful example of how flexible the human mind can be. Lucid dreamers often report a clear realization that this is a dream before they attempt any control over the environment. The recognition itself is often the most memorable moment. It can feel like stepping back mentally while still inside the dream scene. Dream control can include actions such as flying, changing the scenery, or interacting with dream characters. However, control is not guaranteed. Many dreamers find that the dream has its own momentum and does not always respond easily to their intentions. The ability to maintain lucidity and the ability to control dream content are related but not identical skills. A dreamer may remain aware while still being carried along by the dream narrative. Others may successfully change certain details while remaining aware. Some people report being lucid but unable to change much about the dream environment. They may observe the dream rather than direct it. Even without control, many describe the experience as fascinating because of the awareness it provides. Others report that controlling their own dream body is easier than controlling the entire dream world. For example, they might fly or move in unusual ways, but still remain within the same dream setting. This suggests that different aspects of dream control may rely on different mental processes. Some studies suggest that full control over the dream body may occur more often than full control over the entire dream environment. Changing the whole setting may require stronger or more stable lucidity. The dream world can sometimes resist sudden changes. Maintaining lucidity can also be difficult because excitement may wake the dreamer up. The moment of realization can feel thrilling, and that emotional surge may push the brain toward waking. Many experienced lucid dreamers therefore try to stay calm after becoming aware. Dreamers sometimes use stabilization strategies to prolong lucidity. These include focusing on the details of the environment, touching dream objects, or looking closely at textures. The goal is to stay engaged with the dream so the awareness does not fade. Sensory stimulation from outside the sleeper can sometimes be incorporated into dream content. For example, a flashing light might appear in the dream as a lamp or lightning. Researchers have experimented with such cues to see whether they can trigger lucidity. Flashing lights presented during REM sleep have been tested as reminders meant to cue lucid dreaming. The idea is that the dreamer notices the unusual light and remembers they are dreaming. Some early lucid dream devices were built around this concept. Tactile stimulation, such as gentle vibrations, has also been tested as a possible trigger for lucid dreams. The vibration might appear in the dream as a physical sensation. If the dreamer recognizes it as unusual, it might lead to lucidity. In one exploratory study, light stimulation produced a small number of signal-verified lucid dreams, while tactile stimulation was less successful. These results show that external cues can sometimes work but are not reliable for everyone. A broader systematic review in 2024 found that stimulation delivered soon after REM sleep begins may influence dream experiences more effectively than stimulation delivered later. Timing again appears to play a critical role in dream research. The same review noted that dream incorporation of external stimuli occurred more often in stimulated trials than in control conditions. This means that external signals can sometimes become part of the dream narrative. External stimulation methods tested in research include light flashes, sounds, vibrations, electrotactile signals, vestibular sensations, and even water-related cues. Scientists continue to explore how these signals interact with the dreaming brain. Despite this variety of techniques, no external stimulation method has been shown to produce lucid dreams on demand for most people. Lucid dreaming remains unpredictable even with advanced tools. A systematic review from 2012 concluded that several induction techniques appear promising, but none can reliably produce lucid dreams every time. This uncertainty is one of the reasons lucid dreaming remains a challenging scientific subject. Because of this uncertainty, many scientists remain cautious about consumer devices that promise easy lucid dreaming. While the idea is appealing, the evidence for consistent success is still limited. Some induction studies have explored the use of cholinergic drugs because the chemical acetylcholine plays an important role in REM sleep. During REM sleep, acetylcholine levels in the brain rise significantly, helping activate the neural circuits that produce vivid dreams. Because of this, researchers have wondered whether substances that influence acetylcholine might also influence dreaming or lucidity. These studies are conducted carefully in controlled settings because altering brain chemistry can affect sleep in complex ways. One of the most studied compounds in this area is galantamine, a substance originally used in medical treatment for memory-related conditions. Galantamine works by slowing the breakdown of acetylcholine in the brain, which can increase the activity of certain neural pathways. Because REM sleep already relies on acetylcholine, scientists became curious whether this compound could enhance dream awareness under certain circumstances. Research in sleep laboratories has explored this possibility. In a placebo-controlled crossover study, galantamine combined with later night awakenings and lucid dream techniques increased reports of lucid dreams. Participants first woke during the later part of the night and then returned to sleep after taking either the compound or a placebo. The results showed that when the drug was combined with techniques like mild lucid dreams were reported more frequently. However, this does not mean the compound guarantees lucidity. In that same study, a small dose of 4 milligrams of galantamine was associated with lucid dreams in about 27% of participants. In comparison, only about 14% reported lucid dreams after taking a placebo. The difference suggested that the compound might influence dreaming when paired with certain induction strategies. Still, the effect varied greatly between individuals. A higher dose of 8 milligrams in that study was associated with lucid dreams in about 42% of participants. While this increase was notable, researchers emphasized that the study involved controlled conditions and experienced participants. These results cannot be generalized as a reliable method for everyone. It also shows how delicate the balance is between sleep chemistry and consciousness. A later study in 2024 also reported that galantamine outperformed placebo when combined with later night induction techniques. This suggests that certain substances may interact with the timing of REM sleep to influence dream awareness. Even so, the results remain limited to experimental settings. Scientists are still working to understand how these effects occur. Even when pharmacological methods show promise, researchers stress that they are still experimental and not recommended for unsupervised use. Changing brain chemistry can have side effects or disrupt sleep quality. For this reason, sleep scientists approach such methods cautiously. Lucid dreaming research focuses more heavily on behavioral techniques. Some popular lucid dreaming advice mentions supplements like vitamin B6 or other compounds thought to influence dreaming. However, the scientific evidence supporting these claims is much less clear. Some small studies have suggested possible effects on dream vividness or recall, but larger and more controlled research is still needed. Sleep experts often warn that repeatedly waking yourself during the night to induce lucid dreams can reduce sleep continuity. When sleep cycles are interrupted frequently, the body may not complete its normal restorative patterns. This can lead to fatigue or decreased sleep quality. Because of this, balance is important when experimenting with dream techniques. REM sleep tends to concentrate in the later part of the night, which is why many lucid dream methods focus on early morning hours. By that time, the body has already completed several sleep cycles. The brain is more likely to enter longer REM phases where vivid dreams occur. This timing increases the chance that awareness might arise inside the dream. Lucid dreaming can occur in people who have never practiced induction techniques. Some individuals experience spontaneous lucid dreams without trying to create them. These experiences may occur rarely, but still demonstrate that the human brain is naturally capable of this form of awareness during sleep. This spontaneous occurrence helps scientists understand that lucid dreaming is part of normal sleep variation. Frequent natural lucid dreamers are especially valuable to research laboratories because they can provide consistent data. These individuals often have more experience maintaining awareness inside dreams. As a result, they can participate in experiments that require specific dream tasks or signals. Their ability to reach lucidity more easily helps scientists gather information. One reason lucid dream science progressed slowly in the past is that it is difficult to trigger lucidity inside sleep laboratories. The environment of a lab is unfamiliar and can influence sleep patterns. Participants may find it harder to fall asleep or enter REM sleep normally. Because of this, capturing lucid dreams in controlled conditions takes patience and careful design. Modern research is increasingly combining sleep physiology with wearable technology and large-scale participation studies. Devices that monitor sleep stages can now collect data outside laboratories. This allows researchers to study sleep patterns across many participants over long periods of time. Such technology may expand our understanding of dreaming and lucidity. Some newer studies have explored whether eyebrow movements visible on EEG recordings could serve as a cheaper verification tool for lucid dreaming. The muscles in the forehead can produce signals detectable by simple sensors. If a dreamer moves those muscles in a prearranged pattern, it might serve as another way to confirm lucidity. This method could make research more accessible. That approach uses agreed-upon frontalis muscle movements rather than relying entirely on full polysomnography setups. Traditional sleep studies often require many sensors placed across the scalp and body. A simpler signal from the forehead muscles could reduce the need for complex equipment. Researchers continue exploring how reliable this method might be. The eyebrow method appears less consistent than the standard eye movement verification method. However, it may still widen access when full sleep laboratory equipment is not available. For smaller research environments or field studies, simpler signals could still provide useful information. Innovation in monitoring tools may expand the reach of dream science. Researchers have noted that the eyebrow method could potentially work with only a single EEG sensor. This could simplify the setup needed to monitor sleep. With fewer sensors and easier equipment, more participants might take part in research studies. This could increase the amount of data available for understanding lucid dreaming. Lower-cost verification methods may make future lucid dream studies more practical outside specialized laboratories. As technology becomes more accessible, researchers may be able to gather dream data from larger populations. This could help scientists understand how common lucidity really is and what factors influence it. Some research programs are now exploring the use of artificial intelligence combined with wearable sleep monitors. These systems may analyze patterns in brain signals and detect when REM sleep begins. In theory, they could deliver cues at precisely the right moment. This approach could improve the timing of dream-related experiments. Dream reports suggest that lucid dreams sometimes begin with what researchers call a dream sign. A dream sign is an unusual element within the dream that stands out to the dreamer. It may be something impossible or inconsistent with waking reality. Recognizing these signs can trigger awareness. A dream sign might include strange text that changes when read twice, impossible architecture, or events that defy normal physics. For example, a person might suddenly notice that gravity behaves strangely or that familiar places look completely different. These unusual details may spark the realization that the experience is a dream. Dream journaling helps people identify recurring dream signs over time. When someone records their dreams regularly, patterns often begin to appear. Certain locations, characters, or themes may repeat across many dreams. Recognizing these patterns can make it easier to spot them while dreaming. Some people become lucid after experiencing a false awakening. In this situation, the dreamer believes they have woken up, only to realize they are still dreaming. This moment of confusion can trigger awareness. The person may then recognize the dream state more clearly. Lucid dream training often focuses on increasing both dream recall and meta-awareness. Dream recall helps the sleeper remember experiences after waking. Meta-awareness allows the person to reflect on their mental state during the dream. Together, these skills support lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is not simply about having vivid dreams. Many people have vivid dreams but never become aware inside them. The key difference is noticing that the dream is happening while it is happening. Awareness is the defining feature of lucidity. Dream awareness can vary widely from one experience to another. Some dreamers only briefly suspect that they are dreaming before waking up. Others develop a strong and stable awareness that lasts for longer periods. This range shows that lucidity exists on a spectrum. Dream control also varies greatly between individuals and between dreams. Some dreamers can influence the environment, while others simply observe the dream more clearly. Control may include small changes or dramatic transformations of the dream world. Lucidity often fades when the dreamer becomes too emotionally excited. The sudden excitement of realizing the dream can push the brain toward waking. For this reason, many lucid dreamers try to remain calm and focused when awareness appears. Experienced lucid dreamers often emphasize calmness and steady attention as ways to prolong lucidity. By focusing on sensory details in the dream environment, they may stabilize the experience. This practice helps maintain the delicate balance between sleep and awareness. Lucid dreaming has been studied as a possible aid for people who experience recurrent nightmares. Nightmares can be emotionally intense and difficult to escape. If the dreamer becomes lucid, they may recognize that the frightening events are not real. The idea behind this approach is that recognizing the dream may allow the person to change the story or reduce fear. Some dreamers attempt to confront the nightmare or alter the environment. This shift in perspective may reduce the emotional impact of the dream. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine has considered lucid dreaming therapy as a possible option for nightmare disorder. However, the evidence supporting this treatment is still limited. Researchers classify the recommendation as relatively low strength. In clinical guidelines, lucid dreaming therapy received what is called a Level C recommendation. This means the evidence suggests potential benefits but is not strong enough for a firm endorsement. More research is needed to understand its effectiveness. The therapy is sometimes described as a form of cognitive restructuring. Instead of trying to avoid the nightmare, the dreamer learns to face it with awareness. This approach can change how the mind reacts to recurring dream scenarios. In some studies, individual counseling focused on lucid dreaming reduced nightmare frequency compared with people who received no treatment. Participants learned techniques for recognizing dream signs and maintaining awareness. Some reported fewer nightmares over time. A small case series also suggested improvement when lucid dreaming was combined with relaxation and guided imagery training. These techniques helped participants approach sleep in a calmer mental state. Together, they may support healthier dream experiences. Researchers therefore view lucid dreaming therapy as promising but not yet strongly established. The results vary widely between individuals. Larger studies are needed to confirm how effective the approach might be. A research paper focused on post-traumatic stress disorder examined whether lucid dreaming could help reduce nightmare frequency and related symptoms. PTSD, often involves intense recurring dreams connected to traumatic memories. Finding ways to reduce these dreams is an important clinical goal. The study framework assumed that reducing nightmares could also reduce PTSD symptoms. If lucid dreaming allowed the person to recognize the nightmare and change its outcome, emotional distress might decrease. However, the results remain under investigation. Nightmare relief may occur because lucidity shifts the dreamer from a passive victim to an active participant. When awareness appears, the dreamer may feel more capable of responding to the situation. This psychological shift can reduce feelings of helplessness. However, not every lucid nightmare becomes easier. Some dreamers report feeling trapped in a frightening dream, even while aware that it is a dream. Awareness alone does not always guarantee control. Studies of veterans with PTSD have shown that lucid nightmares can sometimes involve awareness without the ability to wake up or change the situation. These experiences can still be distressing. They demonstrate that lucidity is not always a complete solution. This shows that lucidity itself does not automatically make nightmares pleasant. The dream environment may still feel intense or overwhelming. Dream control, emotional resilience, and other factors all influence the experience. Analyses of lucid dream discussions have found that both lucidity and strong dream control tend to be linked with more positive experiences. When dreamers can influence events, they often report greater satisfaction. Awareness combined with control may produce the most enjoyable dreams. Those analyses also suggest that lucid dreams can sometimes end nightmares and prevent them from repeating. Changing the dream narrative may alter how the brain processes fear. This possibility continues to attract research interest. However, the same research shows that lucid dreams can sometimes become unpleasant or disturbing if control fails. The dreamer may remain aware but unable to change events. This complexity is why scientists study both the benefits and the risks. Because of these mixed outcomes, clinicians do not treat lucid dreaming as a universal cure for nightmares. It may help some people, but not others. Other therapeutic approaches may still be more effective in many cases. One widely used treatment for nightmares is imagery rehearsal therapy. In this approach, the person practices rewriting the nightmare while awake. Compared with lucid dreaming therapy, imagery rehearsal therapy currently has stronger evidence supporting its effectiveness. In practice, lucid dreaming and imagery-based methods sometimes overlap because both aim to change the emotional direction of a recurring dream. One method may work during the dream itself, while the other is usually practiced while awake, but both are interested in the same basic question. Can a person meet a frightening dream with more awareness and less cuirass? Helplessness? That shared goal is why the two approaches are often discussed together. Even though they are not identical, they both try to soften the power a nightmare can hold over the sleeper. Some recent summaries written for the public mention that lucid dreaming may have possible benefits for anxiety and depression, but these ideas are still being studied and are not yet settled facts in clinical science. Researchers remain interested because dreams are closely connected to emotion, fear, memory, and mood. If a person becomes more aware inside a dream, that shift might influence how certain emotional experiences are processed. But at the moment, scientists treat these possibilities as promising areas of research rather than firm medical conclusions. Cleveland Clinic notes that some research suggests lucid dreaming may reduce the severity of anxiety and depression in some cases. That does not mean lucid dreaming is an established treatment for either condition. Instead, it means there are early signs that dream awareness might sometimes affect emotional distress in useful ways. Scientists still need larger and more careful studies to understand when this happens, why it happens, and for whom it may be helpful. The same source also notes that lucid dreaming may help improve negative dream experiences, especially nightmares. This idea fits with the broader theory that awareness inside a dream can reduce fear by changing the dreamer's sense of power. A nightmare can feel overwhelming when it seems completely real, but if the dreamer realizes it is only a dream, the emotional grip may loosen. Still, the effect is not universal, and some lucid nightmares remain distressing. Cleveland Clinic also mentions possible benefits for motor skill improvement and performance. This idea comes from the possibility that a person may rehearse movements inside a lucid dream in a way that resembles mental practice while awake. If the brain is simulating an action vividly enough, some researchers think it may strengthen certain performance-related patterns. The evidence is still developing, but the idea has drawn interest from both scientists and athletes. The sports science literature is interested in lucid dreaming because mental rehearsal is already known to support performance during wakefulness. Athletes often imagine movements, routines, or game situations to sharpen their responses and confidence. Lucid dreaming raises the possibility that a similar kind of practice could happen during sleep, inside a vivid dream environment. This would not replace physical training, but it could potentially add another layer to mental preparation. Lucid dreaming may extend rehearsal into sleep by allowing a person to intentionally practice inside a dream that feels realistic and immersive. Instead of only imagining a movement while awake, the dreamer may feel as though they are actually doing it in a simulated world. That is one reason lucid dreams attract attention in performance research. They may provide a form of embodied mental practice that is different from ordinary imagination. Experimental studies summarized in a 2023 review reported promising gains in performance after lucid dream practice. In some cases, participants who rehearsed actions in lucid dreams later showed signs of improvement when awake. These results are interesting because they suggest dream practice may sometimes influence daytime ability. However, the field is still young, and the effects need to be tested much more thoroughly. That same review emphasized the need to separate genuine effects from placebo effects and motivation effects. A person who expects lucid dream practice to help may put more effort into their waking performance afterward. That extra motivation alone could make results look better. For this reason, researchers need carefully controlled studies to determine whether lucid dream rehearsal has a unique effect beyond expectation and practice enthusiasm. Lucid dreaming remains promising for motor practice, but it is not proven enough to replace waking training. Physical repetition, feedback, muscle conditioning, and real-world movement are still essential. Dream practice may someday become a useful supplement, but it cannot stand in for ordinary training. At present, lucid dreaming is better understood as a possible addition rather than a substitute. The same caution applies to claims about problem-solving and creativity. These ideas are plausible because dreams often mix memories, emotions, and ideas in unusual ways. A lucid dream might let a person explore that mental space with more awareness than usual. But even though the concept is appealing, the strongest evidence is still developing, and scientists are careful not to overstate the results. REM sleep itself is strongly linked to emotional processing, memory consolidation, and associative thinking. During this stage, the brain is not simply resting. It is actively reorganizing information, connecting experiences, and working through emotional material in complex ways. Since lucid dreaming usually happens during REM sleep, it exists inside a stage already deeply involved in learning and emotional integration. Because lucid dreaming occurs mainly in REM sleep, some researchers are interested in whether conscious access during REM could be used for learning. If a person can become aware during a stage already linked to memory and emotion, perhaps that awareness could be directed in useful ways. This does not mean REM becomes a classroom, But it does raise interesting questions about whether learning-related processes can be shaped from within the dream. Dream researchers also study whether outside cues can shape dream content without necessarily creating lucidity. In other words, they are not only asking whether a dreamer can become aware, but also whether the dream itself can be gently guided. Sounds, words, or sensory prompts may sometimes influence the themes that appear in dreams. This area of research connects lucid dreaming to the broader science of dream shaping. Work linked to MIT has shown that cues presented around sleep onset can influence dream content, a process sometimes called targeted dream incubation. In these studies, people are guided towards certain themes just as they begin to drift into sleep. The resulting dreams may then reflect those suggested ideas more often than expected by chance. This shows that dream content can sometimes be steered before deeper sleep fully begins. That line of research is related to lucid dreaming, but it is not the same thing. Targeted dream incubation aims mainly to influence what the dream is about, while lucid dreaming requires awareness that the dream is happening. A dream can be shaped without the dreamer becoming lucid. This distinction is important because it separates dream content control from dream state awareness. Targeted dream incubation has been studied especially in N1 hypnagogia rather than in typical lucid REM sleep. N1 is the light transition stage between wakefulness and sleep. During this time, the mind begins to loosen from waking thought, but has not yet entered full dream sleep. Because this stage is easier to access and interrupt, it offers a useful window for experiments. Hypnagogia is the transition from wakefulness into sleep, a state where thoughts, images, and sensations begin to blend in unusual ways. People may notice drifting scenes, fragments of sound, or strange but fleeting ideas. It is softer and less structured than ordinary dreaming. Scientists study it because it may be especially open to suggestion and creative association. A controlled study from 2023 found that incubating dream content during N1 sleep increased creative performance after sleep. Participants who were guided towards certain ideas during this light sleep period later performed better on some creativity-related tasks. This suggests that the edge of sleep may be a useful space for combining rest, imagination, and problem-solving. It also shows that dream-related states can influence waking cognition. A 2025 report suggested that targeted dream incubation may also increase dream self-efficacy, even in people who often experience nightmares. In other words, people may begin to feel more capable of coping with their dream experiences. That sense of confidence could matter a great deal for those whose dreams often feel frightening or uncontrollable. The study adds another dimension to dream research beyond simple dream content. Dream self-efficacy refers to a person's confidence in their ability to cope with or influence dream experiences. It is less about whether they actually control every dream and more about whether they feel capable inside the dream world. This can shape how a person responds to strange, intense, or frightening dreams. A stronger sense of self-efficacy may reduce helplessness. That matters because people who feel more capable inside dreams may be better able to engage with nightmare-focused treatments. If someone believes they can notice a dream, respond calmly, or alter the emotional tone of a scene, they may feel less overwhelmed by recurring nightmares. This sense of agency could support therapy, even if dream control remains imperfect. Confidence inside dreams may change how the dreamer meets fear. Lucid dreaming and targeted dream incubation are sometimes discussed together because both explore ways to intentionally shape mental experience during sleep. One focuses more on awareness, while the other focuses more on content. But both challenge the old idea that dreams are entirely passive. they show that sleep mentation can sometimes be influenced in meaningful ways. Together, they broaden how scientists think about the sleeping mind. But lucid dreaming specifically requires awareness that one is dreaming, while dream incubation can happen without that awareness at all. A person may dream about a suggested theme yet never realize the dream is a dream. This is why the two phenomena must be kept separate in research. One is about insight within the dream, and the other is about guiding the dream's direction. Consumer interest in dream technology has grown much faster than the evidence base for most dream products. Devices that promise lucid dreaming, dream shaping, or enhanced dream recall attract a lot of attention because the idea is naturally fascinating. Many people are drawn to the possibility of interacting with dreams more directly. But science has not yet validated most of these products as strongly as marketing language often suggests. Many popular lucid dream masks rely on light flashes intended to appear inside a dream as a reminder. The idea is simple. Detect REM sleep, then send a cue that the dreamer notices without waking up. If the cue becomes part of the dream, it may trigger the realization that the person is dreaming. This approach is clever, but in practice, it is difficult to time perfectly. Experts have warned that many commercial dream products are undervalidated and may not perform as advertised. Some devices are based on ideas that are scientifically plausible, but plausible is not the same as proven. Reliable lucid dream induction is still one of the hardest problems in the field. So researchers remain cautious when consumer products make strong promises. One major concern is that poorly timed cues may simply wake the sleeper instead of enhancing lucidity. The window between being asleep enough to stay in a dream and alert enough to notice a cue is very narrow. If the signal is too strong or mistimed, the person may just wake up. This is one reason dream technology remains difficult to perfect. Another concern is that repeated awakenings can reduce sleep quality even if they increase dream recall slightly. A person may remember more dreams simply because they wake more often, but fragmented sleep has costs. The body depends on smooth cycling through sleep stages for restoration. Chasing dream experiences too aggressively can work against the deeper purpose of sleep itself. For that reason, sleep experts often advise caution towards self-experimentation that values lucidity more than stable rest. Sleep is not only a stage for interesting experiences. It is also a biological need tied to memory, mood, physical health, and daily functioning. If lucid dream practices begin to weaken sleep quality, the trade-off may not be worthwhile. Lucid dreaming is scientifically interesting because it sits close to the boundaries between waking, REM dreaming, and self-awareness. In ordinary dreaming, awareness of the dream state is usually absent. In waking life, awareness is stable, but dream immersion is gone. Lucid dreaming briefly brings aspects of both together, making it a rare natural bridge between major states of consciousness. Narcolepsy is one sleep disorder that shows an unusually strong association with lucid dreaming. People with narcolepsy often experience unstable boundaries between sleep and wakefulness. Because of this, states that normally remain separate may overlap more easily. This makes narcolepsy especially interesting for scientists who study dream awareness. In one study, people with narcolepsy showed a high tendency toward lucid dreaming, even though their lucid REM sleep did not differ very much from ordinary REM sleep on most recorded features. This suggests that lucid dreaming in narcolepsy may not depend on an entirely separate kind of REM sleep. Instead, it may arise more easily because the boundaries between states are already more flexible. That makes narcolepsy a valuable condition for comparison. Another study found that people with narcolepsy reported lucid dreams much more often than control participants. This stronger frequency supports the idea that narcolepsy is closely linked to dream awareness. It also helps confirm that lucid dreaming is not distributed evenly across all groups. Some sleep conditions appear to change how easily awareness emerges during dreams. Many narcolepsy patients in that study also reported that lucid dreaming reduced their nightmare distress. This does not mean all nightmares disappeared or became pleasant. But for some individuals, awareness inside the dream seemed to soften fear and increase coping. That finding helps explain why lucid dreaming has drawn clinical interest, especially in groups with intense dream experiences. Researchers think narcolepsy may be informative because it involves unstable boundaries between sleep and wake states. People with narcolepsy may move more easily into REM-related experiences or carry certain features of REM into wakefulness. Studying these patterns can help scientists understand how lucid dreaming becomes possible in the first place. It offers a natural model of state blending. That makes narcolepsy a useful natural model for studying how reflective awareness can arise during REM sleep. If dream awareness appears more often where state boundaries are less firm, that may reveal something fundamental about consciousness. It suggests that lucidity may emerge when parts of waking star reflection become active without fully ending sleep. This is one reason narcolepsy continues to interest dream researchers. Lucid dreaming has also been discussed alongside false awakenings, sleep paralysis, and out-of-body experiences as related boundary phenomena. These are not all the same experience, but they may cluster near transitions between wakefulness and REM-related states. Each involves a different kind of unusual awareness. Together, they help researchers study how the brain moves between internal worlds and waking perception. These states are not identical, but they may overlap in some people. A person might experience lucid dreams and also have episodes of sleep paralysis, or move from a false awakening into lucidity. The overlap does not mean one always causes the other. It simply suggests that the borders between certain sleep phenomena are more connected than they first appear. Sleep paralysis, for example, is a state of temporary immobility around sleep onset or waking, while lucid dreaming usually unfolds within an ongoing dream. In sleep paralysis, the person may feel awake but unable to move. In lucid dreaming, the person is still asleep yet aware inside the dream. Both can feel intense, but they arise in different ways and should not be confused. Confusing lucid dreams with waking reality is one reason some experts caution against strong induction efforts in vulnerable individuals. For most people, the difference between dream and waking life returns clearly after sleep. But for some, especially if other mental health or sleep issues are present, repeated boundary-blurring experiences may become unsettling. This is why careful and balanced practice matters. Frequent lucid dreaming has also been studied in relation to personality traits and individual differences. Not everyone recalls dreams equally well, notices dream oddities easily, or reflects on their own thinking in the same way. These differences may help explain why some people experience lucidity more often than others. Dreaming is universal, but lucidity varies greatly. A 2022 survey found that dream recall frequency and lucid dream frequency differ widely across individuals. Some people remember dreams almost every morning, while others rarely do. Some experience lucid dreams often, while others may have one only once in life. These large differences show that dream awareness is shaped by personal variability, not just by general human sleep biology. That same work concluded that some of these differences are partly related to personality dimensions. This does not mean there is a single lucid dream personality. Instead, it suggests that traits linked to attention, openness, reflection, or self-monitoring may influence dream awareness to some degree. Personality is one piece of a larger picture that includes sleep patterns, memory, and experience. High dream recall is one of the most consistent practical advantages for people trying to induce lucid dreams. If a person rarely remembers dreams, it becomes much harder to learn dream signs or notice recurring patterns. Dream recall gives the dreamer access to their own dream world in waking memory. That remembered material becomes the foundation for many lucid dream techniques. In simple terms, remembering dreams well often matters before controlling them becomes realistic. A person must first know what their dreams are like before they can recognize them from the inside. Dream journaling, reflection, and careful recall are useful not because they force lucidity, but because they build familiarity. That familiarity helps turn strange dream details into signs of awareness. Meditation has also been linked to lucid dreaming frequency in recent research. This connection makes sense because meditation often trains attention, monitoring, and awareness of mental events. Those same abilities may help a person notice when they are dreaming. Researchers are interested in whether practices that strengthen awareness during the day might also influence awareness during sleep. A 2024 survey found that daily frequent meditators reported more lucid dreams than people who did not meditate frequently. This suggests that regular practice may matter more than occasional practice. If meditation improves meta-awareness over time, it may increase the chance that some of that awareness appears during dreaming. Still, the result is correlational and does not prove direct cause. Interestingly, weekly frequent meditators in that same study did not show the same increase, which suggests that intensity and consistency may be important. In other words, brief or occasional practice may not be enough to noticeably affect dream awareness. The findings hint that there may be a threshold where awareness training begins to influence sleep mentation more clearly. This remains an active topic of study. Open monitoring meditation showed a positive association with lucid dreaming in that research. This style of meditation involves observing thoughts, sensations, and feelings without immediately reacting to them. That kind of quiet monitoring resembles the sort of reflective noticing that may help someone realize they are dreaming. The connection is not fully settled, but it gives researchers another clue about how waking habits may shape the sleeping mind. The researchers also found higher meta-awareness among meditators and among people who experienced lucid dreams on a weekly basis. Meta-awareness is the ability to notice your own thoughts and mental state while they are happening. In waking life, this can feel like quietly observing your mind instead of being fully swept away by it. Finding higher meta-awareness in both groups supports the idea that lucid dreaming may be linked to the same reflective abilities that some meditation practices strengthen. One interpretation of that finding is that meditation may help train the monitoring skills that later support lucid awareness during sleep. When a person regularly practices noticing thoughts, sensations, and changes in attention, they may become more skilled at recognizing unusual mental states. A dream is one of the most unusual mental states a human can experience. So it makes sense that better monitoring during the day might sometimes help a person notice the dream state at night. At the same time, not all meditation studies show the same strength of association with lucid dreaming, so the relationship remains promising but not fully resolved. Some studies find a stronger link, while others find a weaker one. This is common in sleep and consciousness research, where many different factors influence results. So, meditation may be helpful for some people, but scientists are still working to understand how strong the connection really is. Lucid dreaming has also been studied in relation to video game play. This may seem surprising at first, but video games often involve navigating immersive environments, reacting to unusual events, and adjusting quickly to shifting rules. Some researchers wondered whether those habits might carry over into dreams. If so, gamers might become more likely to notice dream oddities and recognize that they are dreaming. In one study, heavier video game players were more likely to report lucid dreams even after researchers accounted for dream recall and motion disorientation during play. This means the link was not explained only by better memory for dreams or by discomfort with visual movement. It suggests there may be something about interactive digital environments that overlaps with dream awareness. The connection is interesting, though it still does not prove a direct cause. Some researchers speculate that frequent experience with immersive simulated worlds could make dream oddities easier to notice. A person who often moves through unusual virtual spaces may become more mentally flexible about what environments can look and feel like. That could make them more alert to inconsistencies in dreams. In simple terms, people used to simulated realities may sometimes be quicker to question what they are experiencing. This does not prove that video games cause lucid dreaming, but it does suggest that lucid dreaming may connect with how people practice attention and virtual embodiment while awake. The mind learns from repeated experiences, and interactive media may shape how people engage with space, rules, and sensory information. Researchers remain careful here, because correlation is not causation. Still, the pattern is enough to keep the topic scientifically interesting. Lucid dreaming research often overlaps with the broader science of consciousness because it examines awareness in an unusual biological state. Most studies of consciousness look at waking life, anesthesia, coma, meditation, or perception. Lucid dreaming adds something rare to that list, a state where the person is definitely asleep, yet some reflective awareness is present. That makes it a valuable natural experiment for understanding the mind. Lucid dreaming is especially valuable because the person remains asleep while regaining some capacity for reflection. This means scientists can study self-awareness without requiring full waking consciousness. The dreamer is not awake in the normal sense, yet part of the mind seems able to observe, judge, and recognize. That combination makes lucid dreaming one of the clearest examples of awareness returning inside sleep itself. This makes lucid dreaming different from ordinary waking imagination, hypnosis, or daydreaming. In those waking states, the person knows they are awake and has ongoing access to the external world. In lucid dreaming, the person is disconnected from the outside environment and immersed in internally generated experience. The awareness that appears does so inside sleep, not alongside waking perception. At the same time, lucid dreaming is also different from ordinary REM dreaming because insight has returned. In a typical dream, bizarre events may unfold without question. In a lucid dream, the dreamer notices that the experience is not waking reality. So lucid dreaming stands between two familiar states. It keeps the immersion of dreaming, but adds part of the reflective clarity of waking life. Lucid dreaming may therefore help researchers map which parts of consciousness can return independently of full waking. Awareness is not a single switch that turns completely on or off. Instead, different aspects of consciousness can rise and fall separately. Lucid dreaming shows that self-reflection can come back even while the body remains asleep and the dream continues. Researchers sometimes refer to this as a partial reactivation of waking-like cognitive functions during REM sleep. In ordinary REM dreams, some forms of critical thinking and self-monitoring are reduced. In lucid dreaming, a portion of those functions seems to come back online. This does not turn the dream into full wakefulness, but it does change the quality of the experience in an important way. The prefrontal cortex is often highlighted in this research because it supports decision-making, monitoring, evaluation, and self-reflection during waking life. These are exactly the kinds of abilities that seem to reappear in lucid dreams. When a dreamer realizes that a dream is a dream, that recognition resembles the kind of reflective thinking often linked to prefrontal brain function. This is why the region appears so often in lucid dream research. Cleveland Clinic notes that some studies suggest frequent lucid dreaming may reflect increased activity or communication between brain regions that are usually quieter during sleep. That does not mean the whole brain wakes up. Instead, it suggests that certain networks involved in awareness, decision-making, and perception become more engaged than they are in ordinary dreaming. This pattern fits what lucid dreamers describe subjectively. Those brain regions are linked to decision-making and sensory perception, which matches the reports many lucid dreamers give about increased clarity. They often say they feel more aware, more observant, and more capable of evaluating what is happening around them. That inner experience lines up with the idea that some waking-style brain functions are becoming more active. It is another example of how subjective reports and brain research can support one another. Lucid dreams, therefore, offer a rare natural example of metacognition appearing during sleep rather than during wakefulness. The dreamer is not only having an experience, but also recognizing something about that experience. That is the heart of metacognition. Seeing it happen in sleep helps scientists understand that reflective awareness is more flexible than once believed. Researchers are also interested in whether lucid dreaming can help separate different components of dreaming, such as imagery, awareness, control, and memory. In ordinary discussion, these are often blended together. But science works best when it can distinguish one process from another. Lucid dreaming is useful here because it reveals that a dream can contain vivid imagery without awareness, awareness without much control, or control without perfect memory afterward. Awareness and control do not always increase together, so lucid dreaming is not a simple all-or-nothing condition. A dreamer may realize they are dreaming but still feel unable to alter much. Another dreamer may have only partial awareness yet manage to influence part of the dream. This variation shows that lucid dreaming is made of several dimensions rather than a single fixed state. This graded quality may explain why some people describe themselves as semi-lucid rather than fully lucid. They may suspect they are dreaming or briefly know it, but not with complete clarity or stability. The experience can move along a spectrum rather than fitting neatly into two categories. That subtle range is important in both personal reports and scientific classification. The dream may remain unstable because the brain is still operating within REM sleep rather than full waking consciousness. The systems that support careful reflection are only partly active, while dream generation is still in progress. Because of that, lucidity can appear and fade quickly. It is like a temporary clearing in the middle of a still-moving dream landscape. Lucid dreams can end in different ways. The dreamer may wake up completely, lose awareness and continue dreaming non-lucidly, or shift into another dream scene. This instability is one reason lucid dreams can be hard to study and hard to control. The state is real, but it is delicate. This instability is also one reason long and highly controlled lucid dreams remain difficult to investigate scientifically. Even if a dreamer becomes lucid, keeping that state stable long enough for repeated tasks is not easy. Emotional excitement, distraction, or simple changes in sleep depth can interrupt the experience. So the challenge is not only creating lucidity, but maintaining it. Researchers often need multiple nights of sleep recording to capture enough verified lucid dream episodes for meaningful analysis. A single night may produce no lucid dreams at all, even in participants with previous experience. This makes lucid dream research time-intensive and expensive. Yet the value of the information is high enough that scientists continue pursuing it. Even expert lucid dreamers are not usually able to produce a lucid dream on command every single night. Skill helps, but it does not create certainty. Lucid dreaming remains partly unpredictable, even for people who practice often. That unpredictability is one reason it remains scientifically fascinating. This rarity is part of what makes successful induction studies so important. When a method increases the odds even moderately, That result matters because the baseline success rate is often low. Lucid dreaming research does not usually deal in guarantees. It deals in probabilities, timing, and improved chances. Lucid dreaming is often described very positively in popular culture, but research shows there can also be meaningful downsides for some people. Stories about flying, freedom, and dream control are appealing, but the real scientific picture is more mixed. Benefits exist, but so do limits and risks. A balanced view is important. Frequent lucid dreaming may disrupt normal sleep patterns, especially if a person repeatedly wakes themselves during the night to induce it. Sleep works best when its cycles are allowed to unfold with reasonable continuity. Repeated interruptions may weaken restorative sleep, even if they increase dream awareness. So, more lucid dreaming is not automatically better. Sleep deprivation becomes a realistic risk if induction attempts repeatedly cut into total sleep time. A person may become absorbed in techniques, alarms, awakenings, and recording dreams while losing overall rest. Over time, this can affect mood, focus, and health. The pursuit of dream awareness should not come at the cost of healthy sleep. Lucid dreams can sometimes blur into anxiety-provoking experiences if the sleeper has trouble cleanly separating dream experience from waking life afterward. For most people, this boundary returns without difficulty. But in some cases, especially when the dreams are intense or the person is already vulnerable, the emotional residue may linger. That is one reason experts advise moderation. Some sleep experts also warn that very intense lucid dreaming may leave sleep feeling less restful for certain people. Even if the person enjoys the experience, the night may not feel as restorative the next day. This may happen because the dream was highly vivid, emotionally intense, or linked to repeated awakenings. Sleep is not judged only by interest, but by how well it restores the body and mind. Emotional overload is another possible risk because a lucid dream can remain vivid even when it becomes unpleasant. Awareness does not automatically soften the emotional force of the dream. Sometimes it can heighten the sense of being present inside it. If the dream turns disturbing, the experience may feel more intense rather than less. Attempts to induce lucid dreaming may also increase the frequency of sleep paralysis or false awakenings in some individuals. These states are not necessarily dangerous, but they can be unsettling. Because induction often involves interrupting sleep and increasing attention to dream states, it may make certain REM boundary experiences more noticeable. This is one reason induction should be approached thoughtfully. That does not mean lucid dreaming causes these states in everyone. Rather, they may cluster together because all of them involve unusual relationships between REM sleep, waking awareness, and bodily control. In some people, those boundaries are simply more active or easier to notice. The important point is that sleep experiences often exist in families of related phenomena. Some experts explicitly advise seeing a clinician if lucid dreaming seems to be worsening sleep quality or mental health. This is especially true if the person begins to feel distressed, exhausted, confused, or unusually anxious around sleep. Lucid dreaming is interesting, but it should never be pursued in a way that harms well-being. Professional support matters when sleep becomes difficult. This concern is particularly relevant for people with sleep disorders, trauma-related nightmares, or fragile boundaries between dream experience and waking reality. For these individuals, aggressive induction may not be the safest path. What feels playful or interesting for one person may feel destabilizing for another. That is why individualized caution is so important. Scientists who study lucid dreaming generally do not present it as a universal self-help tool. They are usually more measured than popular media. The field sees lucid dreaming as an intriguing mental state with some possible benefits, some possible risks, and many unanswered questions. That careful tone reflects the complexity of the evidence. Instead, lucid dreaming is usually described as a state with specific possible uses and specific limitations. It may help in selected areas such as nightmare coping, experimental dream research, or exploratory practice. But it is not a catch-all solution for emotional problems, performance goals, or sleep difficulties. Precision matters more than hype. In practical terms, the safest evidence-based advice still centers on sleep quality, dream recall, and cautious experimentation. Good sleep supports dreaming in general, and dream recall helps people understand their own patterns. Any attempt to increase lucidity works best when built on that foundation. Healthy sleep comes first. Good sleep hygiene matters because chronic sleep fragmentation can undermine the REM periods that lucid dreaming depends on. If someone sleeps poorly, wakes often, or shortens the night too much, the later REM-RH periods may suffer. That makes vivid dreaming less stable and lucid dreaming less likely. Ironically, protecting sleep may be one of the best ways to support dream awareness. Over-pursuing lucid dreams can actually make them harder by damaging the very sleep architecture that supports them. A person may try so hard to induce lucidity that they interfere with REM sleep continuity and overall rest. This can reduce the chance of natural, stable dream experiences. Lucid dreaming works best when approached with patience rather than force. Lucid dreaming is also relevant to the study of memory, because dreamers must remember an intention or recognize dream signs while asleep. This means that some forms of memory continue to matter inside dreams. The dreamer is not only dreaming, but also, in a sense, remembering to notice the dream. That makes lucid dreaming partly a memory phenomenon. Mild, in particular, relies on prospective memory, which is the ability to remember to do something in the future. In waking life, this is the skill used when you remember to send a message later or bring something with you before leaving home. In lucid dreaming, the task becomes remembering, in a future dream, that you are dreaming. That is a remarkable use of memory inside sleep. This means lucid dreaming is partly a memory task, not only a dream state. The dreamer must carry a mental intention forward in time and across the boundary into sleep. If that intention survives and reappears at the right moment, lucidity may begin. So induction is not only about strange dream events, but also about how memory behaves during the night. Dream recall journals may help because they keep dreams mentally important in waking life. Writing dreams down signals to the mind that dreams matter and should be remembered. Over time, this can strengthen both recall and familiarity. That familiarity may later support lucidity by making dream patterns easier to recognize. The more often people remember dreams, the more likely they are to notice recurring personal themes. Certain locations, emotions, characters, or unusual events may appear again and again. Without recall, these patterns remain hidden. With recall, they become visible and useful. Those repeated themes can then become triggers for future lucidity. If a dreamer learns that they often dream of impossible buildings, strange lighting, or old school settings, those recurring elements may later stand out from inside the dream. When they do, the dreamer may realize what is happening. In this way, memory gradually teaches awareness. Lucid dreaming is sometimes associated with feeling refreshed after sleep, but induction methods that disrupt sleep can work against that effect. This creates an important distinction. A spontaneous lucid dream that appears naturally may feel very different from one produced after repeated awakenings. The quality of the sleep surrounding the dream matters a great deal. Research on feeling refreshed after lucid dreams therefore has to separate spontaneous lucid dreams from deliberately sleep-disruptive attempts to create them. Otherwise, it becomes difficult to tell what caused next-day tiredness. or next-day energy. The lucid dream itself may not be the problem. The broken sleep used to reach it may matter more. This distinction is important because the lucid dream may not be the main reason someone feels tired the next day. People sometimes blame the vivid dream, when in reality the larger issue was fragmented sleep. This is a good example of why sleep science has to look at the whole night, not only at the most interesting moment. The repeated awakenings used to create a lucid dream may be the bigger factor in next-day tiredness. Broken sleep can interrupt restoration, even if the dream experience itself was positive or fascinating. So, when people evaluate lucid dreaming, they should consider both the dream and the process that led to it. Method matters as much as outcome. In sleep physiology, REM sleep is temperature sensitive because the body regulates temperature less effectively during this stage. That means the sleeping body is not as flexible in handling heat or cold while in REM. This detail may sound small, but it reminds us how biologically specialized REM sleep really is. Lucid dreaming depends on this fragile stage, so anything that affects REM can indirectly affect dream awareness. The NHLBI notes that people do not have as much REM sleep in colder temperatures, partly because the body does a poorer job of regulating temperature during REM than it does in other sleep stages. When the sleeping environment becomes too cold, the brain may spend less time in REM in order to protect the body more effectively. This matters for lucid dreaming because lucid dreams most often arise during REM sleep. If REM becomes shorter or less stable, the opportunity for lucid awareness may shrink as well. Since lucid dreams mostly arise in REM sleep, anything that reduces REM opportunity can also reduce the chance of lucid dreaming. This can include poor sleep habits, repeated interruptions, certain substances, illness, or environmental conditions that disturb sleep architecture. Lucid dreaming is not floating separately from biology. It depends on the same sleep systems that support ordinary vivid dreaming, so anything that weakens those systems may indirectly weaken lucidity too. REM sleep also becomes more concentrated later in the night, which is why morning sleep often feels especially rich with dreams. Early in the night, the body usually spends more time in deeper non-REM sleep. As the night continues, REM periods become longer and more frequent. This is one reason people often wake from a vivid dream close to morning and remember it more clearly. That late-night concentration of REM helps explain why many spontaneous lucid dreams are remembered from the final third of sleep. During those later hours, dreams tend to be longer, more vivid, and more immersive. These conditions may make it easier for awareness to emerge inside the dream. In a sense, the sleeping brain is giving lucid dreaming a larger stage later in the night. Scientific interest in lucid dreaming reaches far beyond psychology and extends into neurology, psychiatry, sports science, philosophy, and consciousness research. Each of these fields sees something useful in lucid dreaming. Neurologists study the brain mechanisms behind it. Psychiatrists consider its possible role in mental health and nightmares. Philosophers ask what it reveals about self-awareness, while sports scientists explore rehearsal and performance. Philosophers are interested in lucid dreaming because it shows that self-awareness can sometimes arise inside a dream world. For centuries, philosophers have asked what separates waking reality from dreamed experience. Lucid dreaming complicates that question in a fascinating way. The dream is still unreal in an external sense, yet the dreamer can become aware of their own condition while remaining inside that unreal world. Neuroscientists use lucid dreaming to ask which brain systems are needed for reflective awareness. Ordinary REM sleep already provides vivid imagery and emotional intensity, but lucid dreaming adds a layer of self-recognition. By comparing lucid and non-lucid REM sleep, researchers can better understand which networks help the brain monitor itself. This turns lucid dreaming into a powerful tool for studying consciousness. Sleep clinicians are interested in lucid dreaming because of its possible role in nightmare coping. If a person can recognize a nightmare while it is happening, that awareness may sometimes reduce fear or create a sense of control. This does not work for everyone, and it is not always sufficient, but the possibility is meaningful enough to deserve study. Lucid dreaming sits at the edge of both sleep medicine and emotional treatment. Sports researchers are interested because dream rehearsal may complement mental practice. Athletes already use visualization to strengthen performance routines and responses. Lucid dreaming raises the possibility of performing a kind of vivid rehearsal during sleep itself. Even though the evidence is still developing, the idea is compelling because the dream environment can feel bodily real and emotionally engaging. Engineers are interested because wearable devices may someday detect and influence dream states with greater precision. Sleep tracking technology has become smaller, cheaper, and more sophisticated over time. If devices can more accurately recognize REM sleep and deliver cues at the right moment, they may improve how lucid dreaming is studied. For engineers, lucid dreaming is both a neuroscience question and a timing problem. Lucid dreaming has become easier to investigate as sleep monitoring technology has improved. Earlier generations of researchers relied on more limited tools, but modern equipment can track sleep stages, eye movements, heart rate, muscle tone, and sometimes additional subtle signals. Better tools do not solve every problem, but they do make it easier to gather data. This helps move lucid dreaming research from anecdote toward measurement. Even so, many of the most exciting possibilities around lucid dreaming remain experimental rather than ready for routine use. The science is progressing, but many findings are still based on small studies, specialized participants, or careful laboratory conditions. That means the field is promising without being settled. Lucid dreaming is scientifically real, but many hoped-for applications are still in the testing stage. Recent reviews note that lucid dreaming research still faces problems of rarity, instability, and methodological inconsistency. Lucid dreams do not happen on command very often, and when they do happen, they may not last long enough for repeated testing. Different studies also use different methods, definitions, and participant groups. All of this makes it harder to compare results cleanly across the field. Sample sizes in lucid dream studies are often small because verified lucid episodes are hard to obtain. A researcher might recruit many participants but still end up with only a limited number of confirmed lucid dreams. That creates a challenge for statistics and generalization. The field often produces fascinating results, but those results must be interpreted carefully because the underlying samples can be limited. Self-selection is another issue because people attracted to lucid dream studies may already differ from the general population. They may be more interested in dreams, more experienced in dream recall, or more motivated to practice induction techniques. This can make research findings less representative of everyone else. In science, it matters not only what happens in a study, but also who chooses to take part in it. For that reason, survey findings from lucid dream communities cannot always be generalized to the whole population. People in dream forums or lucid dreaming groups are often especially interested in the topic and may report more frequent or more elaborate dream experiences than average. Their experiences are valuable, but they may not reflect how lucid dreaming works for most people. Researchers therefore have to separate enthusiast samples from broader population data. Meta-analyses are especially useful in this field because they help balance the limitations of small, individual studies. A meta-analysis combines results across many studies to look for larger patterns. In a field where many projects involve small groups and difficult conditions, this broader approach is especially important. It helps researchers estimate prevalence, compare methods, and see which findings are more stable over time. The 2016 prevalence meta-analysis remains one of the most important reference points for estimating how common lucid dreaming is. By gathering data across many studies, it gave a more reliable sense of how often people report lucid dreams. This kind of work matters because individual studies can vary widely. A large combined analysis offers a better overview of the broader human pattern. Its results suggested that nationality and participant characteristics did not strongly bias the overall prevalence estimates. That does not mean every group experiences lucid dreaming in exactly the same way or at exactly the same rate. But it does suggest that lucid dreaming is not confined to one narrow culture or one unusual subgroup. It appears to be a broadly human phenomenon found across many contexts. That does not mean every group has identical rates, but it does support the idea that lucid dreaming is widespread rather than rare in the extreme sense. Many people will encounter it at least once, even if only a small portion experience it regularly. This is one reason lucid dreaming remains so interesting scientifically. It is unusual enough to be striking, but common enough to study meaningfully. Britannica summarizes lucid dreaming as appearing more often in children than in teens or adults. This age pattern has appeared in several discussions of the topic, although researchers are still exploring the exact reasons behind it. It may relate to changes in sleep architecture, imagination, metacognitive development, or reporting style. Whatever the cause, age seems to matter. This age pattern has led researchers to wonder whether lucid dreaming is tied in some way to developmental changes in cognition and sleep. Childhood sleep is not identical to adult sleep, and the mind's relationship to imagination, self-reflection, and dream experience may also change over time. Lucid dreaming may therefore offer clues not only about consciousness, but about how consciousness develops. Children have even taken part in studies designed to validate lucid dreaming objectively. This is important because it shows researchers are not relying only on adult reports. In these studies, children may use agreed signals or other controlled methods to help confirm lucidity. The work helps show that lucid dreaming is not simply a mature skill learned later in life. That research focused on validation rather than on teaching children how to induce lucid dreams. In other words, the goal was to confirm whether the phenomenon occurred, not to train it aggressively. This distinction matters because scientific observation is different from encouraging dream manipulation. The validation work strengthens the case that lucid dreaming can arise naturally, even in young people. The fact that school-age children can show lucid dreaming supports the view that the capacity appears naturally and is not dependent only on adult practice or formal technique. Training may improve the odds for some people, but the basic ability seems to belong to the human mind itself. Lucid dreaming may therefore be better understood as a natural potential that can sometimes be cultivated. Some modern contemplative traditions also cultivate dream awareness, which is one reason recent reviews connect lucid dreaming with sleep yoga and related practices. These traditions are not modern laboratory science, but they contain long histories of observing the mind during sleep. Their methods often aim at maintaining awareness through changing states of consciousness. This makes them relevant to current scientific curiosity. These contemplative traditions are scientifically interesting because they may provide long-term training models for meta-awareness during sleep. A laboratory study may last days or weeks, but some contemplative practices are developed over years. That gives researchers a different kind of model to consider. Such traditions may offer clues about whether awareness in sleep can be strengthened through sustained practice. Lucid dreaming, therefore, sits at a useful intersection between ancient introspective traditions and modern neuroscience. One side brings carefully observed first-person experience, while the other brings measurement and physiology. These two approaches are different, but they can inform each other. Lucid dreaming is one of the rare topics where inner experience and objective science meet so directly. Its study is unusual because it depends on both first-person experience and objective physiological measurement. A lucid dream is still a private mental event, so the dreamer's own report is essential. At the same time, researchers can measure REM sleep, eye signals, timing, and sometimes brain activity. The field depends on both subjective experience and external verification working together. Dreamers provide the subjective content, while sleep recordings provide timing, stage classification, and signal confirmation. Neither side is enough by itself. A brain trace cannot fully describe what the dream felt like, and a report alone cannot always prove when lucidity occurred. Lucid dream science therefore relies on combining lived experience with physiological evidence. This combination makes lucid dreaming one of the few dream phenomena that can be examined during the dream itself. Most dream research depends almost entirely on memory after waking. Lucid dreaming changes, but by allowing the sleeper to signal from within the dream. That ability makes lucid dreaming especially valuable in experimental dream science. That is one reason lucid dreaming has become a centerpiece in experimental dream research. It gives researchers a way to investigate dreaming more directly and more precisely than many other dream states allow. Even though it is hard to capture, its scientific payoff is large. Lucid dreaming opens a door into sleep that is normally closed. The field increasingly aims to move from anecdote toward reproducible laboratory paradigms. In earlier periods, lucid dreaming was often discussed mainly through striking personal stories. Today, researchers want methods that can be repeated, tested, and compared across labs. This shift is a sign of scientific maturity, even if the work remains difficult. New preprint research is even exploring whether immersive virtual reality rehearsal before sleep might improve lucid dream induction in laboratory settings. The idea is that practicing awareness in a simulated environment before bed could strengthen the habits needed to recognize dreamlike conditions later. This is an early and experimental line of work, but it shows how rapidly the field is expanding. Lucid dreaming research is increasingly borrowing ideas from technology, training, and cognitive science. Although that kind of work is still in a very early stage, it shows how quickly lucid dream research is growing technologically. Scientists are not only using sleep labs in traditional ways. They are exploring wearables, AI, VR, and new forms of cueing and monitoring. The field remains young, but its methods are becoming more sophisticated. At the same time, the field still depends heavily on basic tools such as dream journals, sleep timing, and repeated practice. High technology has not replaced the fundamentals. Dream recall, stable sleep, and careful observation remain central. In lucid dreaming, simple habits are often just as important as advanced devices. There is still no universally reliable shortcut to lucid dreaming. No single supplement, gadget, or technique works for everyone, every time. This remains one of the clearest conclusions in the field. Lucid dreaming can often be encouraged, but it cannot yet be commanded with certainty. Most successful approaches improve the odds rather than guaranteeing the result. This is an important way to think about lucid dreaming scientifically. Techniques do not function like switches. They act more like probability boosters, increasing the chance that awareness may arise under the right conditions. Lucid dreaming is best understood as a learnable but variable skill layered onto a naturally occurring REM dream. The dream itself comes first, rooted in ordinary sleep biology. Lucidity is an added feature that may appear spontaneously or be encouraged through practice. Because it is layered onto something naturally unstable, it remains variable. Its most fundamental feature is insight, not spectacle. The flying transformations and dream experiments often draw the most attention, but those are not the essence of lucid dreaming. The core event is realizing, while still asleep, that the experience is a dream. Everything else follows from that moment of recognition. Its most promising scientific value is that it allows consciousness to be studied while the brain remains asleep. Few other states provide that opportunity so clearly. Lucid dreaming lets researchers ask which parts of awareness can return without ending sleep. This makes it valuable not just as a dream topic, but as a consciousness topic. Its most likely practical value today lies in selected areas such as nightmare coping, dream research, and exploratory mental rehearsal. These uses are narrower and more realistic than many popular claims. Lucid dreaming is interesting and potentially useful, but mainly in specific contexts where its strengths match the goal. Scientific caution works best when practical hopes stay focused. Its biggest current limitation is inconsistency. Many people can have a lucid dream, but far fewer can do so regularly or reliably. This gap between possibility and reliability shapes almost every part of lucid dream science. It affects induction studies, clinical use, and everyday practice. Lucid dreaming is real, but it remains difficult to stabilize. Its biggest methodological challenge is that the state is hard to provoke at the exact time and place researchers need it. A lucid dream in ordinary life is already unpredictable. A lucid dream that appears on schedule in a lab, during REM, after setup, and long enough for tasks is even harder. This is one reason the field progresses carefully rather than quickly. Its biggest caution for everyday use is that induction methods can interfere with restorative sleep if overused. Lucid dreaming should not be chased in a way that damages overall sleep quality. The body needs rest more than it needs unusual dream experiences. Healthy practice means respecting that balance. Even after decades of research, lucid dreaming remains scientifically important precisely because it is both common enough to study and rare enough to remain special. If it were extremely rare, research would struggle to proceed. If it were completely routine, it might reveal less about unusual consciousness. Its middle position makes it especially valuable. Modern evidence supports a simple conclusion. Lucid dreaming is real, measurable, and biologically tied to REM sleep. It is not just folklore or speculation. Researchers have verified it through signals, sleep staging, and repeated observation. That makes lucid dreaming one of the best supported unusual dream phenomena in sleep science. The same evidence also shows that awareness, control, benefit, and risk do not always rise together. A person can be lucid without control, can have control without clear benefit, or can find lucidity exciting in one dream and distressing in another. Lucid dreaming is not a single value that moves only in one direction. It is a complex experience made of several different elements. Taken together, lucid dreaming is one of the clearest examples of the sleeping brain briefly becoming aware of its own internally generated world. The dream continues, the body remains asleep, and yet some reflective part of the mind recognizes what is happening. That simple fact is both scientifically rich and quietly extraordinary. It reminds us that even in sleep, the mind can sometimes turn and notice itself. We've now gently arrived at a quiet truth about lucid dreaming. It is not a fantasy invented by culture or a strange trick of memory, but a real and measurable experience tied to the biology of sleep. The modern evidence supports that clearly. Lucid dreams arise most often in REM sleep, the stage where dreaming is especially vivid, and they can be verified in laboratory settings through agreed signals from the sleeper. So even though the experience can feel mysterious, its existence rests on real scientific ground. At the same time, lucid dreaming is not a simple or uniform experience. Awareness, control, emotional benefit, and emotional difficulty do not always move together. A person may know they are dreaming but still be unable to guide the dream. Another person may enjoy one lucid dream and find another one confusing or intense. This is part of what makes lucid dreaming such a rich subject in science. It is not one thing, but a changing combination of several mental abilities unfolding inside sleep. The sleeping brain is capable, for brief moments, of recognizing the world it has generated for itself. That may be the most striking feature of all. In most dreams, the mind accepts the dream as reality. But in a lucid dream, the mind pauses and notices. It realizes that the landscape, the people, the motion, and even the story are being created from within. That moment of recognition is quiet, but scientifically, it is extraordinary. One of the gentlest things science teaches here is that lucid dreaming depends on ordinary sleep first. It does not stand apart from healthy rest. It grows from normal REM sleep, normal dream formation, and normal nighttime cycles. That means the best foundation for lucid dreaming is often not a dramatic method, but simply stable sleep, enough time in bed, and a mind that is allowed to move through the night without too much disruption. Dream recall remains one of the most important doors into this subject. The more often people remember their dreams, the more they begin to notice repeating patterns, recurring places, familiar impossibilities, and personal dream signs. These details may seem small, but over time, they create a map of the sleeper's inner world. Lucidity often begins not with force, but with familiarity. That is why dream journaling continues to matter even in a field filled with advanced technology and brain imaging. Writing down dreams helps people keep them present in waking memory. It gives shape to experiences that would otherwise fade quickly after waking. And once those experiences become more visible, the dreamer has a better chance of recognizing them from the inside later on. The same is true of calm, reflective attention in waking life. Research linking lucid dreaming with metacognition, meditation, and self-monitoring suggests that the habits of quiet noticing may matter. A mind that learns to observe itself during the day may sometimes carry a little of that observational power into the night. The connection is not perfect, and not every study agrees strongly, but the broader pattern is meaningful. Lucid dreaming also reminds us that consciousness is not all or nothing. Awareness can return partially. Reflection can appear without full waking. Control can rise without becoming complete. Memory can survive into dreaming in limited ways. This layered quality helps scientists understand that the mind is made of parts that can separate and recombine in unusual conditions. That is why lucid dreaming remains so useful to the wider science of consciousness. It gives researchers a naturally occurring state in which the dreamer is asleep, yet not entirely lost in sleep. Some of the functions associated with waking thought begin to return, but only partly, and only briefly. This makes lucid dreaming one of the clearest natural examples of blended consciousness the human brain can produce. The field has also shown how difficult it is to study such a delicate state. Lucid dreams are real, but they are not easy to summon on command. They are often brief, unstable, and resistant to laboratory control. Even highly skilled dreamers cannot always become lucid exactly when a study needs them to. So every verified lucid dream collected in research is the result of patience, timing, and careful design. That difficulty is also why the successful methods matter so much, even when they do not work every time. Techniques like mild, wake back to bed, dream journaling, and reality testing do not guarantee results, but they increase the odds. In lucid dreaming research, improving the chance of success is often the most realistic goal. The field deals more in probabilities than in certainty. At the same time, science keeps a balanced tone. Lucid dreaming can be beautiful, useful, and fascinating. but it is not treated by careful researchers as a universal cure or a guaranteed tool for self-improvement. It may help with selected problems, such as some nightmares, and it may support areas like dream research or mental rehearsal. But its effects vary widely, and overstatement would only hide what makes the subject genuinely interesting. This balance is especially important because lucid dreaming can come with costs when pursued too aggressively. If a person repeatedly interrupts sleep to chase lucidity, the result may be poorer rest, more fatigue, and less stable REM sleep. In that case, the method begins to damage the foundation it depends on. Good sleep is not the enemy of lucid dreaming. It is the ground from which it grows. That is one of the quiet lessons at the heart of this topic. The sleeping brain works best when it is respected. Lucid dreaming is not strongest when it is forced. It often appears more naturally when sleep is healthy, recall is steady, and awareness is gently practiced rather than strained. In other words, the path toward lucid dreaming may be more about balance than intensity. The research on nightmares shows something similar. Lucidity may help some dreamers by shifting them from helplessness toward active coping. But awareness alone does not always remove fear. Some lucid nightmares remain painful or difficult, especially if control is weak. This reminds us that awareness is powerful, but not magical. It can help, yet it does not erase every challenge inside the dream. The same pattern appears in studies of performance, creativity, and learning. Lucid dreaming may become a useful extension of mental rehearsal, and some early findings are promising. But the strongest evidence is still being built, and the field remains careful. Dream practice may one day become a helpful supplement in certain settings, but science is not yet ready to make sweeping claims. One of the most calming things about the science of lucid dreaming is that it accepts uncertainty without losing wonder. Researchers do not need to exaggerate the phenomenon to appreciate it. The fact that a sleeping mind can sometimes realize it is dreaming is already more than enough to hold attention. Lucid dreaming is interesting precisely because it is real, measurable, and still not fully understood. It also reminds us that the mind is not silent and sweep. Even when the outside world fades away, the brain remains active, structured, and deeply engaged. It cycles through stages, generates imagery, processes memory, shapes emotion, and sometimes, in rare moments, becomes aware of itself doing all of this. Sleep is not emptiness. It is a hidden form of activity, and lucid dreaming may be one of the clearest windows into that hidden activity. Most dreams vanish too quickly and too privately to be studied as they unfold. Lucid dreams, by contrast, can sometimes be signaled from within. That small ability to communicate while dreaming changes everything. It allows dream science to move closer to the experience itself. This is why lucid dreaming holds such a special place in experimental sleep research. It gives a bridge between first-person experience and third-person measurement. The dreamer says what it felt like. The instruments show when it happened, in what stage, and with what signals. Few areas of science rely on this kind of partnership between inner life and objective recording so directly. In a way, lucid dreaming brings together many worlds at once. It connects ancient reflection with modern neuroscience, private experience with laboratory verification, dream mystery with biological fact, and wonder with caution. That richness is part of its lasting appeal. No single explanation captures all of it, because lucid dreaming lives at the intersection of many different questions. It is about sleep, of course, but also about memory. It is about awareness, but also about imagination. It is about control, but also about surrender to a process larger than control. And perhaps most of all, it is about how the human mind can sometimes notice itself from the inside, even while the body lies asleep and still. When seen this way, lucid dreaming becomes more than a curious sleep event. It becomes a gentle reminder that the boundaries between mental states are not as fixed as they often seem. Waking and dreaming are different, yet not fully isolated from one another. Reflection can enter dreaming. Dream emotion can linger into morning. The mind moves more fluidly than everyday life usually reveals. Even the limits of lucid dreaming are informative. Its instability, its rarity in laboratory conditions, and its inconsistency across people all teach scientists something important. They show that awareness in sleep is possible, but delicate. It can appear, brighten, and then vanish again. That fragility is not a flaw in the research. It is part of the phenomenon itself. And so the field continues with patience. Better sleep tracking, improved induction studies, lower-cost monitoring tools, and larger participant groups are slowly expanding what researchers can observe. The progress is careful rather than dramatic, but it is real. Lucid dreaming is moving steadily from the edges of speculation into a clearer scientific picture. Still, even with all that progress, there remains something softly humbling about the subject. The dream world can be entered, measured, and studied in pieces, but it is never fully reduced by those measurements. Lucid dreaming stays partly mysterious, not because it is unreal, but because consciousness itself is a deep and layered thing. The science clarifies it, yet also reveals how much more there is to understand. Perhaps that is why lucid dreaming feels so memorable to so many people. It is not only unusual, it is a direct experience of the mind turning toward itself. The dreamer remains inside a world made by the brain, then suddenly recognizes that fact while still moving through it. Few human experiences make inner reality so visible so quickly, and yet, for all its wonder, lucid dreaming still rests inside ordinary human sleep. It grows out of REM rhythms, dream recall, memory, attention, and the nightly architecture shared by millions of people. That is comforting in its own way. The extraordinary here is not separate from the ordinary. It is woven through it. So the scientific picture that emerges is both impressive and quiet. Lucid dreaming is real. It is biologically grounded. It can sometimes be encouraged. It can sometimes be useful. It can sometimes be difficult. And it continues to teach researchers about what consciousness can do when the outside world has fallen away and the dream has taken its place. In the end, lucid dreaming may be one of the most graceful examples of the sleeping brain becoming aware of its own internally created world. Not fully awake, not fully lost, but balanced for a moment between immersion and recognition. A dream and the knowledge of the dream, existing together in the same soft space of night. And with that gentle thought, you can simply let the mind grow quieter and let the night keep unfolding in its own calm way.